on Halloween, matter of fact. So you should dress in red tonight and show your respect, love, adoration, whatever you want to call it. My mouth is a little off this morning. So we'll do our best. But anyway, I'm David Glovin, and you're not. As I said, on Red Friday, we remember everyone deployed today. And we usually wear a red shirt or something red just to show that you're thinking of the men and women in the military, the men and women of ICE, the men and women of the National Guard, the men and women of state and local law enforcement, the men and women that are your first responders. We salute everybody. As I said earlier, if you are the family of someone that I named off, you are more than welcome to come on the broadcast with me and discuss your loved one. If you are in one of the things I mentioned before, you have an opportunity to come on and say hello to everyone and let them know. Just tell me what you do if you can. Some people can't, but if you can, I hope you will. And we just talk about that. Otherwise, we start the broadcast with the salute to all of the people above, the men and women of the military, the men and women of ICE, the men and women of the National Guard, the men and women of state and local law enforcement, and the men and women that are first responders, because all of those people make you safe every single day here in the United States of America. And it's a job they take very seriously. So I want to show my love and appreciation for what they do. We learned Red Friday from Bill Muckler, who's been on the program several times and is a retired Marine captain. He taught us about Red Friday, and it was important, and we did it every Friday. And he and I did several together then every Friday. And so I've always dedicated the program to him. So take some time and just show that service member or that ICE member or that National Guard member or even state and local law enforcement or any first responder you see throughout the day. Buy them a cup of coffee if you get the opportunity. I'm sure they would appreciate it. Buy them a meal at wherever you're eating today. And like I said, it's Halloween. So wear some red in your Halloween costume tonight. Also, be safe, light yourself up, wear bright colors that show that you're out and about tonight and that your family is out and about on the roadway today so that there are no issues, God forbid, with you being out on the roads tonight. It's a fun night to be out. It's the day before All Saints Day, which is November 1st, I believe, where we remember all of our saints. I get to remember my sister, St. Corinne, because she was born on November 1st, although my mom tells me that she tried everything she could to have a Halloween baby. Now, we've joked around for a little bit. We talked about Red Friday. We need to get down to some serious business on this Boogie with the Bull. And yeah, it's time to harp about the Schumer shutdown. It needs to come to an end. And that means that Majority Leader of the Senate, John Thune, has a few options. One option is he just goes nuclear and says, okay, I got 53 Republicans. That's a majority. I'm going to go nuclear, which allows me to do that and pass it that way. Then, since the House has already passed it, he will have already passed it. It goes to President Trump, who is waiting and signs it. I think some changes need to be put into anyone thinking they can shut down the government for any reason. There needs to be some rules. And one of the rules is, look at SNAP. They're broke. Doing what they do, they're broke. They're out of money. But they are required by your Congress to set aside some money to be able to continue during a lot of reasons, one of which is a government shutdown. You get your check and you continue to survive. Okay? Eating is an important thing to a lot of people. And a lot of people depend on that SNAP check. And they're not going to get their November SNAP check until the government reopens, Congress reopens, and Congress gives them access to use their emergency funding for the purpose of what it was created for, an emergency. They need it, so they have to ask permission to use it. The same 43 Republicans, the same 43 Democrats will probably vote in favor of not allowing them to do it. The same 53 Republicans will probably vote in favor of them doing it, at least in the Senate. All of the Republicans in the House, I'm sure, will vote in favor of them being able to do it. Why? Because it's important. It's just important. It's the right thing to do. I don't believe Chuck Schumer, the Senate Minority Leader, took into account that this could happen. But you would think he would shut down the shutdown, reopen the government, and allow it to do its work. Instead of, oh, well, maybe President Trump will do something. Chuck, you won't like what President Trump decides to do. You wouldn't like it if he reached into his own wallet and said, I'll fund the November checks. You wouldn't like that. You wouldn't like if he created another agency and said, I'll fund it with tariff money, because you don't get to control the tariff money. And the person who controls Congress's money, the taxpayers' money, taxpayers of the United States of America, aren't giving you any money. They're not giving you $1.5 trillion because you're upset the USAID closed and a lot of other programs of the Democrats don't have money anymore and they can't operate either. I am saying, yeah, we have a hell of a lot of illegal immigrants in this country. Okay? We have a hell of a lot of illegal immigrants in this country that depend on SNAP. Somehow they manage to get on SNAP. There's another time and place to deal with their being on SNAP. There are a lot of people, American citizens, naturalized American citizens, that depend on SNAP. They earn the right to get some assistance. They're willing to, as I said on the previous Boogie with the Bull, they're willing to either do 15 hours a week of community service, or 15 hours a week of working, or 15 hours a week of going to school, or whatever, to get that benefit. Hopefully they're working and they're making money, and hopefully they make too much money and they don't qualify for SNAP anymore. But they're paying taxes to fund the program. So yes, I'm doing something I don't normally agree with, but hey, anybody who gets a SNAP check and should get that SNAP check in November deserves to have that SNAP check. You didn't take that away from them on purpose. You just closed the government down. They went broke after you closed the government down, and they can't get access to their emergency funding because they have to go through Congress. You closed Congress down because you closed the government down. Too much leverage that one person thinks they have. And to the Democrats in the Senate, they keep voting against the clean, continuous resolution. Pass it. Vote in favor of it and pass it. Like Senator John Thune, the Senate Majority Leader, a Republican, said, hey, give me the clean, continuous resolution that I need, pass it. And then, yes, we'll have all the open discussions you want. And maybe we'll come to an understanding or an agreement, and we'll do something on what you want. This is like Chuck Schumer saying, oh, well, 13 times when I was Senate Majority Leader, they got what they wanted, I got what I wanted. Well, this is something everybody wants. Pass it. Reopen the government. Then we can reopen the House and the Senate and go from there. Matter of fact, I'm very adamant about this today. If you're in the House, you're in the Senate, regardless of what you do. I don't care if you're a janitor. Everything from the top down. Nobody should get paid in the House or the Senate until the Senate passes a clean, continuous resolution. And they better put something in there so that on November 21st, we don't shut down again, because the government will be broke. We need to give that an extension, a very long extension, like the rest of the fiscal year. And we probably have the money to do that by not paying anybody in the House or the Senate for the rest of the fiscal year if they don't pass it. The House has done it. The Senate should do it. The president wants to sign it. Okay? Stop looking to President Trump to come up with solutions that you should have the answer to, that you can do in your job, that makes this thing go away and allows us to function like we should. That's simple. I shouldn't have to come on and get that upset about it. I shouldn't have to come on and get that upset about it for the second time in one day. We're not doing human interest right now because this is the biggest human interest thing. Other countries around the world, I'm sure, are looking at us and looking to see how we handle it. They invest money in this country all the time, billions and billions of dollars, because we are the best at what we do. We're also the worst at what we do. And today, this Schumer shutdown is one of the worst things we do. The Schumer shutdown basically means that people don't get their assistance. Whether they deserve it or not, we can argue that out later, but people don't get their assistance. that lady who has 7 children and that isn't going to get her $4,200 check, you know what? She's right. Whether she should get $4,200, well, that's something like Senator Thune said we need to discuss. Or what she's going to do, what requirements are going to fall on her for that $4,200 a month check. But if you're getting $4,200 a month from SNAP, you're not going to get a job. Because you don't have to. Most Americans don't make $4,200 a month. We can sweat the whatever you call it once we're back in business, and we're not back in business. And I don't understand why we're not back in business. We run the gambit of not feeding Americans. And I threw in naturalized Americans, illegal Americans. Somehow they managed to get on the program. I don't give a damn about that right now, really. They're humans, and they deserve that benefit. Whether or not we can take it away from them later, hey, we can take it away from them later. And there's nothing that Chuck Schumer and the Schumer shutdown is going to do to prevent that. If they're on the program illegally, they abuse the program, they're fraudulently getting checks, we can doge SNAP. That's not the issue right now. Right now, the issue is that they're not going to eat in November because they depend on that check. Even that lady that has 7 children doesn't get her $4,200 check for November. In December, I hope she gets a lot less and she has to work or do community service or go to school. Because she can look at President Trump and go, hey, you need to help me right now because Chuck Schumer, the Senate Minority Leader, wants to take my benefits away. My kids won't eat. I won't eat. Pass the clean, continuous resolution like you're supposed to in the Senate. I don't care if you have to use the nuclear option, which means Democrats don't have a say. It just passes. Because it reopens the government. That gives President Trump what he wanted, and he will sign it. You want $1.5 trillion? Well, hey, reopen the government so that we can sit down together and break bread and agree on what we agree on and disagree on what we don't agree on and figure out a way to make it work. But giving you $1.5 trillion doesn't matter if we're shut down or not. If any of that money is meant to fund SNAP, it's extra money in SNAP's account because they've got the money. They have money set aside for this. Probably not enough money to get through this. But I think if you have us broke again on November 21st, the last thing you're going to be able to do is put a shutdown on the government asking for your stupid $1.5 trillion. Because we have a government to help us do things. And one of those things is feed people who need help. American citizens who need help. Right now, I don't care. People need to eat. They're on that program illegally. If they're on that program illegally, they got to be found and booted off of that program. But for now, give them a check along with Americans who deserve it and make sure SNAP has enough money to do it because that's what they do. the abuse, the fraud, the illegals on it, we can deal with that in December. They may not get a check in December. But me, I wake up every morning and I go, hey, there's a lot of people dependent on that money. A lot of Americans, naturalized Americans, people that want to be an American, dependent on that money. They don't get that money, they may not eat. I'm not willing to see you do that. Like I said, the illegals that are on it, we can weed them out in the month of December. Or a good amount of them, I'm sure. You don't like anything Doge did before, well, maybe you'll like the fact that Doge might do something right for a change. I don't care. I really care. There is no reason for this shutdown to affect SNAP. You're just mad because, like I said earlier, you don't get $1.5 trillion handed to you in exchange for 7 votes. Bullcrap. Give us the 7 votes, like Senate Majority Leader Thune said. Give us the 7 votes. We have 60 votes. We get it passed. We reopen the government. And then you can have the audacity to ask us for something you know you're not going to get. The extension to the subsidies, sure. But again, go through the Affordable Care Act and make sure people are getting it legally. And then make sure those people that are in there legally are able to pay the subsidy. And subsidies in this case are stupid. Yeah, I want insurance. I want the most affordable insurance policy I can get, but I have to pay a subsidy to the insurance company to give it to me? The hell's the point of that? If you're on a $100 a month policy and you pay $2, you got to pay the government. I mean, you got to pay the insurance company $98 a month on top of what you pay, on top of the $2 you pay to have the $100 a month policy. It's a game. If you're making it on that $100 a month policy, getting what you need, and you're being taken care of, then goddamn it, get rid of the subsidy and buy the effing $100 a month program. You deserve it. You make money working. You take care of your family. You make sure they eat. You make sure they get medical help when they need it. You get some assistance by getting a $100 policy that might cost $1,000. But if you make the $900 a month subsidy that you're paying to get the $100 a month insurance policy, you're making the $1,000. Both sides, Republicans, Democrats, they play games with words to make you think you're getting a great deal. And we fell for it. We thought the great deal was that we pay $100 a month for a $1,000 a month policy, but we pay $900 a month in subsidies. And if it is $1,000 a month, we need to work on bringing the price down for those who can't afford to pay $1,000 a month. And we need to help them. We need to help them in more ways than just giving them a $1,000 insurance policy for $100 a month. We need to help them. Help them get a job if that's what they need. Help them get into a home that they can rent affordably if that's what they need. Joe Biden, Barack Obama, whoever you want to blame, brought all of these people into the country, and they gave them free apartments and free houses and free hotels they could live in. And what did these people do? They destroyed them. So then they just got moved to another one while the other one was getting renovated. Doesn't work that way. We got Americans, naturalized Americans, people that want to be Americans. They're in the pathway. They have families. They're living on the streets. They're sleeping in their cars. So that the illegals can have it. If you can give it to the illegals, that means you can give it to the citizens. I mean, I'm tired of saying America first, but hey, America should come first because in all these other countries in the world, they come first. And they're allowed to come first. And they get money from us so they can be first. We need to take care of this country. And right now, 100 people in the Senate are blocking us from getting what we need. You can't vote them all out right now and bring in people that will because the election isn't now. We've got 53 people in the Senate. At least that's what I seem to understand. 53 Republicans that want to pass a clean, continuous resolution, which is the first and only thing they have to do every year. They're not denying you any money for anything. They're just making sure the institution is there. We created government because we needed people to supervise different things. Yes, over the years we added things that were stupid, but I'm not worried about that. And right now, the clean, continuous resolution, which they have always passed, or they played Chuck Schumer's game where I gave them what they wanted, they gave us what we wanted. Bullcrap. A clean, continuous resolution is a clean bill. You don't add pork of any kind on it. Because once the government is open and has money, the government can decide what they want to do with that money to help us. And right now, they're not doing it. And I want to believe that Chuck Schumer, in his heart, did not mean to stop SNAP. Oh, well, pass it as a standalone, and it'll go that way. You want to pass it as a standalone, but you want Trump to fund it. They have the effing money they need. It's called emergency funding or whatever you want to call it. Congress made them put some of their money aside so that if something happened, they could use it. But to make sure it's being used the right way, they have to go to Congress and ask for it. And Speaker Johnson right now is like the treasurer in general of the United States. He controls the purse strings. And he said, yeah, we need to fund the government so that it does the job we created it to do, which is opening up the House and the Senate so that SNAP can get access to their emergency money. Because next time, maybe a better option is for SNAP to take all the pallets of cash that are sitting somewhere that they can't use right now to just keep it in their effing offices. When this happens, they got the money and they can, it's like I had said before. You want the best for your family, or you want to be able to do what you can for your family. We want SNAP to be able to do its job. And yes, I understand there are illegals on there. There are abuse on it. There is fraud on it, but that's not the point. Right now, the point is send out the checks to the people who get a November check. Then in December, make sure you don't send the check to the people who shouldn't get it. I'm going to say something stupid, but no, I'm actually not going to say that. But you need to do what we sent you there to do. Ray Feggins is Boogie with the Bull live chat. And Ray, if you want to come on, I will send you a link, and you are more than welcome to come on. But I didn't mean to do that. Hold on. I got to do it this way. And open that one. And then come back here. Because I don't think I copied the link because I wasn't planning on sharing it. But hang on. Let me copy the link. It is copied. Then we can go over here and go over here. Bear with me. I will do it. I know I can do it. I know I can do it. I know I can do it. First, I have to answer this one because this one's a personal one that I have to answer. Oops, I can't type. I'm so ticked off this morning. I gotta open this one and then go up here. I wish it was so easy that you could just log in, that every broadcast that allows people to come on would be open, and you could just push a button and say, I want to join, and then be allowed to come in. All right, let me say, Ray, I sent you the link. If you want to come on, you're more than welcome to come on. Otherwise, I'm going to, wait a minute, I don't want to do that. I don't want to leave that. All right, Ray, if you want to come on, you're more than welcome to come on. And as soon as I see that you have done that, if you want to do that, you're welcome. But let's see, I am 34 minutes into the program. I am going to wrap it up by 11 o'clock, like I said, if I'm still solo, because I harped on this at 8 o'clock this morning to let people know that we were going to be on at 10 o'clock because I thought I had a guess. And that situation didn't work out. But anyway, you are more than welcome to come on to the broadcast. We'll even go a little bit extra if we need to make sure. This is your format to do this on the Boogie with the Bull YouTube channel and on my profile on Facebook, plus wherever else we send. And I did say earlier that I would do a Xander Gibb Memorial pre-rehearsal. And for those that don't understand what a Xander Gibb Memorial pre-rehearsal is, a good friend who has passed away a while ago, Xander Gibb, used to start his YouTube channels with his broadcast and then go to Facebook, and he would find it. Well, he didn't have to find it. He knew where it was. He'd go to his Facebook page and he could hit a button or two and share it. To Donald Trump, you have it. We need patriots, you've got it. The Red Blanket Nation, you've got it. Red Patriots for America, you've got it. Conservative Freedom Defenders, our group with Art Sessa, you have it. Boogie with the Bull Uncensored, which is one of my favorite groups, you have it. Mega News Nation, you have it. United Patriotic News, you've got it. American Regulators, you have it. And Conspiracy Truths Video and Meme Private Group 2025, you've got it. That's enough groups to know that I passed it around. I will get it into the rest of you. I will get it into the rest of you when the podcast is available. And I will also podcast it all over the interweb thingy today for people to see. And I've talked to a lot of people, and they seem to think that 5-minute broadcasts here, there, everywhere throughout the day, they might be better. So if I can get down to less than 30 minutes all the time, I will work on getting down to 15 minutes all the time. Cover 3 things for 5 minutes and then break them up and send them all out everywhere I can too. We do the best that we can with what we have to do. But I know showing my anger to you is not what's going to do this. I should be on the floor of the Senate yelling at every single one of them, but I'm not able to do that. I don't know what the answer is. In the end, they don't need the Democrats. They will learn. They don't. If he went nuclear, it means that the Republican vote becomes enough to pass it. Otherwise, they need 60. There are 7 people sitting in that room, I'm sure, that vote no every time, that are Democrats or independents or I don't know. But they vote no. There are 7 people there that want to vote yes just to end this thing and get back to work. Because they don't want to hear me keep saying none of you should get paid until you have ended the shutdown. Because they all want to get paid. Bernie Sanders is the one Democrat who said it best. You can't shut it down because we have young members of the Senate who have families and they couldn't afford to feed them. Well, if they can't afford to feed them, Bernie, then why the hell are we in a shutdown? Because the American citizens who elected you can't afford to feed themselves either. And you make Bernie $174,000 a year. Chuck Schumer makes $174,000 a year, plus whatever bonus he gets for being the minority leader. We should take it away from all of you. I know Ted Cruz doesn't get paid right now. He went to the Senate secretary and said, I don't want to be paid. Hold it. You can give it to me when we pass, but I personally think he should lose everything up until when it's passed. Then he can go back and get his salary. Same thing with all of them. They should not get paid for this time that they've kept this game going. Senator Thune could have gone nuclear at any time he wanted. The reason seems to be, well, I'm concerned with what the Democrats might do for the rest of the term or what they might do if they become the majority in the next term. Well, you know what, John? Don't care. Don't worry about what's not here now. Worry about what is here now. Meaning, don't worry about what the Democrats are going to go do. Worry about that you're not doing what you need to do. And who cares? Because honestly, the Democrats are going to keep us shut down through November 21st right now, which means that we're going to go from shutdown right into a shutdown because we're not going to have the money to operate the government. And the next shutdown and the next shutdown, and we'll go until November 2026 running the United States government this way until we vote them all out, if that's what we're going to do. Don't have any Democrats anymore. Everyone who voted no on the Democrat side, because that's the only no's that I know of, are on the Democrat side. Because of SNAP ending up in this whole mess and not us allowing them to use their own emergency money. Chuck Schumer says, make it a standalone and let fund it. We don't need to make it a standalone and let Trump or the president fund it. But I will tell you one thing. If we did, it'll be a hell of a lot better than it is right now. Why? Because you, asshole, couldn't shut it down. If you decided you were going to shut down the government, you couldn't shut down SNAP. Because it may not be your program anymore. Or you don't like the fact that who's ever running SNAP right now is a Trump appointee. Enough is enough is enough is enough is enough is enough is enough. Pass the damn continuance resolution that must be clean. You have done it before. Don't act like it's a foreign idea. You've never heard of it before because the House passed it. Then your body was supposed to pass it. And then President Trump's black Sharpie was going to make sure it passed. And you're worried about what Democrats can do. What can they do? They're not going to override something the president signed. Because the Republicans that control Congress, the House, and the Senate, they're not gonna change it. If the Democrats were the majority of both, they might override the president signing it into law. But for what reason? Right now, the Democrats don't have the votes to override the presidential veto. If he were to veto it. And the only way he's going to veto it is if the House and Senate approve it with a bunch of pork that shouldn't be there. The referee said, no, you want me to sign it? You want me to approve it? Then it goes the way it is. There is no pork. After the bill is passed, like John Thune just said, after the bill is passed and the government is open, then yeah, we can have all the talks that you want to have. But I'm not giving in to your $1.5 trillion wish list or any stupid money that you shouldn't have. I'm not giving it to you up front because odds are we have no proof that is how you will use it. It could end up in your wallet for all we know. It was as easy as giving you $1.5 trillion to leave and never come back. I don't know. Maybe I would say, yeah, give it to him as long as we have proof that he's left out of the country, gone for good. Matter of fact, off the earth and gone for good. You know, like I said, there's a fine line between making SNAP the way it's supposed to be, which we can do, but they need their emergency money, and weeding out and making SNAP the way it's supposed to be, which we can worry about in December. But we have Americans that stand right now not to get their SNAP check for November. No food of any kind in November. No Thanksgiving, nothing. We are the greatest effing country in the world. Why don't we act like one? We say America first all the time. Protect us. But we don't do that. Or it's selective. Food is a basic need. Everybody needs it. Yes, as I've said for the 100th time. I'm sure illegal immigrants are on it. I'm sure there is abuse, and I'm sure there is fraud. There are people within the SNAP that are supposed to catch that. So let them catch it in November and make sure it doesn't go on in December. You know, I'm sure Chuck Schumer is so embarrassed that SNAP somehow worked its way into it that he's just going to keep it going rather than do the right thing and say, I'm done for right now. We need to take care of SNAP. I'm sure there are other things the government does for us because we've asked the government to do it for us that aren't getting money either right now. But some of us are not getting our paychecks and we're not paying our bills. So we can't, we shouldn't be paying our taxes, which go to paying you. Some taxes are essential and you got to pay them, or you think we got to pay them. But the tax that pays you right now, we should not be paying so that you don't have it, so that you starve. And when you starve, you'll realize that there are other people that are starving, and they're starving because of stupid things you do. Maybe you'll come to your senses, or hopefully it'll be November 2026 and there won't be a Democrat left in Congress. And it's easier for Hakeem Jeffries, the House minority leader, to run around and go, oh, you're not doing this and you're not doing that, and blah, blah, blah. Hakeem, you should be doing everything you can right now to make sure the Senate passes it. You want to do good for America? Make sure the Senate passes the clean, continuous resolution. And then go meet with your Senate counterparts and make sure they don't do something else. But this is how the game is played. The first thing you do when you come into session every year is pass the continuing resolution. And it must be a clean bill. Nothing else attached to it. None of this, well, I'll give you guys this and you'll give me that. No, doesn't work that way. Pass the bill, make sure the government's open, and then you can go meet in a room and discuss whatever you want and hope that you can come to a consensus. Because there isn't a effing person in the United States of America, citizen, that voted that wants to play this game any longer of you guys deciding what happens. Because you're not doing a good job of it. If you like this boogie, give it a thumbs up. Make some comments as to why you did. If you didn't like this boogie, give it a thumbs down and make the same comments that tell me why you didn't like it. Because I will make the changes either way. Again, we were on at 10 o'clock this morning because I thought we had a guest, and I made a decision that we weren't going to have a guest this morning. And I went live. Anybody is welcome to be a guest on a Boogie with the Bull broadcast. All you have to do is tell me ahead of time that you want to be a guest, or come into a live chat and ask to be a guest. Okay, it's that simple. I'm probably the most accommodating person here on Facebook. Except today, my mind said, situation is not working, and I have to do what I have to do. What I have to do right now is tell people it's going to get better. It's going to get worse before it gets better, because we don't know what the 43 Democrats in the Senate will do for the rest of their term. And that's what Senate Majority Leader Thune is afraid of. Well, don't be afraid of what could happen. Be afraid of what is happening. And then correct what is happening to the best of your ability. And that's to just pass the clean, continuous resolution, reopen the government, and then reopen the House and Senate. And then you guys can argue all you want. But for now, stop digging up things that we're not doing because we're not open. Make us open so we can do it. And if you're Chuck Schumer, don't hate every word that comes out of President Trump's mouth. And don't be angry at President Trump that he's not going to bail out Snap with tariff money, because he bailed out WIC with money. And he did that as a good faith effort to show you what he would do. Now you give us some good faith and end this shutdown so we can get back to work and do what we need to do. Because we aren't doing it for ourselves. So I hope everybody votes a different way than Democrat in the next election, November 2026. And right now it looks like you'll be voting for Chuck Schumer or AOC on the Democrat side. And I think I'd rather have AOC right now. On the Republican side, there's a good possibility that maybe we could see Riley Gaines run for Chuck Schumer's seat. Works for me. She knows what she's talking about. She knows what she's doing. Or maybe we see Riley Gaines run for mayor of New York. And we put Zohan somewhere else. And maybe Curtis Sliwa doesn't run for mayor of New York because it's in good hands. And he focuses on running for Schumer's seat. It's a Republican. We can only go up. So I don't really know. New York, I think, is a pivotal state. I think they're going to go red. I think they're closer than they have ever been to going red. And if New York goes red, there's a lot of states that are going to go red too, including California. they'll go back to being red. Because when I grew up in California, Ronald Reagan was the governor, and they went red. They did eventually go back to blue because Edmund G. Brown, I guess, was a governor. His son, Jerry Brown Jr., was a governor. And that's around the time that I left. I've met Ronald Reagan twice in my life. Once as California's governor and once as president of the United States. At the time I met him as president of the United States, it was pretty funny. I was with a friend of mine who worked for the White House advance staff, which, from what I understand, is really where a lot of secret operations are based. And I was in the tent that President Reagan was in before he came out to give his speech. And my friend Tim's boss came in and said something, and they all scrambled to where they were supposed to be around the president. And then I thought that was my cue to leave the tent, so I started to walk toward the tent. And that person looked at me and he said, "I just called you guys all to order. Where are you going?" And I said, "I forgot where I'm supposed to be." And he said, "You're supposed to be behind the president, like you always are." And I said, "Okay." Then afterwards, I had a chance to talk to President Reagan for a second and said, "You know, I'm not a Secret Service agent." And he said, "I know, but I really wish you were." So I don't know. But anyway, my brain goes all over the place. But that's Lewy body dementia. And I want to do a broadcast on that one day just to show people what it is and what dementia is all about. Because I have really great days that are off the charts, and I have really bad days that are off the charts too. But you can get up and you can do it. You know, you can. You really can. I did this mainly to show people that you can do it. You just open up your laptop, it points a camera and a mic at your face, and you just do it. So today I'm telling a bunch of stupid people in Washington, D.C., and I'm including Republicans in that being stupid. Nuclear. 53 people will have approved it. Hopefully President Trump will take out his black Sharpie and sign it. And to make sure he doesn't lose any time, I'm sure President Trump will drop what he is doing anywhere he is and come back to Washington, D.C. and make sure he signs it. Because Hakeem is saying, well, he's doing this and he's doing that. He's out of the country doing this. He's out of the country doing that. He's not here during this. Well, he's doing what the president is supposed to do, which is plan years in advance. You know? Don't worry about what he's doing. Worry about what you're supposed to do. And your body, the House, already did it, Hakeem. So you should be over in the Senate making sure it gets passed. The government gets reopened, Congress gets reopened, and then, like I said, you can go in a room and fight it out. But at least we're open for business, doing what we're supposed to be doing for the American people who fund the government. But understand, I wake up every morning and I look out the window and go, okay, it's not going to be as bad as I expected it to be today. But it's coming. It's coming, and it's going to be bad when it comes, I guess, because that's what they keep telling us. But Barack Obama said propaganda works because you can tell shit to anybody you want. It's that you keep telling the same shit to the same people every day, every second of every day, until they get to a point where they start believing it. I want you to believe that we have the greatest country in the world. And we have boneheaded assholes like me who will sit in front of a camera and a mic and tell you that every day. But we have things that we need to work on. And I wish I was one of them, because I wish I could stand in front of them right now and go, you know what, people? We need to stop this shenanigans, this game, and do what we need to do right now. And then we can pick up the game and play whatever we want. But people who are dependent on us to do a job know right now, because we're not doing our job, it could get worse before it gets better. Well, if you went to work and you did what you were supposed to do, it might not be worse. And I'm sick and tired of you people in Washington, D.C. thinking you decide what you want. You're in Washington, D.C. because we decided to send you to speak about what we want and how we want it. Because if you think about it as a business, if you want to think about it as a business, we're the shareholders. We own stock in this country. Granted, a lot of bad people own a lot more stock than we do. And a lot of good people own stock in this country too. I do. Ray does. Anybody else in my live chat does. Anybody on YouTube who I don't know if they're watching. Anybody on Facebook who's watching that's not in the live chat. We own the stock in this country, just like others. And if we all band together, there could be amazing things we could do. Then you don't want to get me started on property tax, because I know that property tax is an essential thing that city governments need to operate the things they do for you. But you paid sales tax when you bought that piece of property. Now it's yours, and you don't have to pay taxes on it. You don't have to pay a government a fee to allow you to use a piece of property that you already own. And if you want to put a 55-foot flagpole on your piece of property with a 200-mile flag on it, that's your right to do. Well, I guess it's your right to do as long as the 200-foot flag doesn't bother your neighbors, because they have a right to control their property. But if you want to put a 55-foot flag on your property, flagpole on your property with an American flag on it, that's your right. If you don't want to mow your grass, that's your right. Don't even get me started on homeowner association, because I hate homeowner associations. I just want landlords that know what they have to do, and they will do it. And we know what we have to do, and we'll do it. And that's how it goes. I mean, I could have, because the limousine wouldn't fit, so the garage could close flush, I could have taken the Lincoln Town Car home every day. But that was then, and this is now. I don't drive unless I fire up my steering wheel and my pedals and go for a drive. At least that's what I want to do. No, I don't drive. But anyway, I want to thank everybody who listened to Boogie with the Bull 2.0 Red Friday Morning Caffeine, and agree that Senator Thune, the majority leader, should go nuclear and pass it. That's what President Trump wants them to do. And I bet if there was something that we were shut down for by Republicans, and the Democrats said, hey, we can't do our thing the way we're supposed to do it for the people that we serve, President Trump would probably bitch slap the Republicans. I mean, like I said earlier, if President Trump decides to do what he can, when he can, how he can, you Democrats aren't going to like what he decides. Whether it's good or bad, it doesn't matter. Trump decided it. You worked so hard to make sure he didn't become elected president in 2016 that you got him elected. You worked so hard to steal the election or make sure he didn't get elected in 2020. And in 2024, he slipped up again and thought that he wasn't going to get elected. And boom, he's back. And forget about retribution. I hear people say that Trump is only doing what he's doing in regards to going after certain people because of retribution. Bullcrap. He's going after them because they broke laws, and he's got the proof. And if you keep harping about you want to read the Epstein file, great. As long as they nail everybody who's in that file, I don't care about reading it myself. You know? And the worst one to hear what's going to happen to him, Prince Andrew is no longer Prince Andrew. He's now Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. His father's name over his mother's name. Just a commoner. So he lost a lot there. But I hope they get him into a court and 12 people decide whether or not he's guilty. And if he is, then you know what he can expect. But I thought I heard someone say once that the main reason President Trump hasn't read you that list is that if they prosecuted everybody around the world, it could really affect the entire world. So I don't know if that's right. I don't know if that's wrong. I think it's wrong. But, I don't know. Whether or not Pam Bondi has it on her desk, I don't know. Whether or not Kash Patel has it on his desk, I don't know. Sooner or later, someone's going to get a hold of it and they're just going to release it. And what happens then, I don't know. I just know, to the best of my knowledge, I'm not on it. Because I've never been to Epstein Island. I've never met Epstein. I never took money from him. I'd be sitting in a lot better studio with a lot better equipment if I did. But I won't. But that's not why I'm not in it. I'll be doing this until I can't afford to do it anymore. And right now, we're almost doing it for free. I own the laptop. We're using free Restream. We're using free Facebook. We're using free YouTube. We don't ask you for a dime. We don't even ask you if you want to send us a dime. Send us a dime. We don't even give you an address to send us the dime because we don't want your dime. All these other people that do this, the big boys and girls, yeah, they're concerned with their contracts and they want thousands of dollars a year. Well, good power to them. I don't. I don't need it. I'm just trying to occupy time. Whoops. Now it's 11:11, and I have to go. And at 11:11 every day, I try to send a quick message to my grandson, and we go from there. Anyway, what I got to do over here is hit that one. And that killed it all. So all the alarms are shut off. I have to get a hold of our grandson, You're our oldest grandson, and make sure he's happy and well and fine, and wish him to have a good day, because I think it was him who told me at 11:11 every day, people make a wish. It's a simple thing. Just grab your phone and text out, "How are you?" Blah blah blah, and you can send it to so many people that you'd be busy just doing that every day. But anyway, hey, try to get out of your house as often as you can. Do a little bit of exercise while you're home. That was one thing that my primary said yesterday. Try to get out as often as you can, because you'll feel better. And if you listen to the Jim Price show daily update or something, something to that effect. But if you listen to Jim Price, if you spend an hour out each day and let your body suck in all those natural good vitamins and minerals, you feel better too. Then do a little bit of exercise if that wants to help. I chase Agnes, our new cat, around as much as I can, and I walk a lot going to check on her. But yeah, if I did some more exercise, I'd be okay. I weigh 186 point something pounds, so I'm right where I want to be. Not too fat, not too skinny, good health. My vitals seem to be okay, but you just don't need to sweat all the bad stuff every day. Start telling them. Start telling them what it should be, and keep telling them what it should be, and maybe they'll start believing what it should be and doing what they should do. But anyway, I want to thank Ray for being in the live chat and throwing in some good comments like Trump and Republicans will go nuclear. Yep, I think they will. I think John's had enough and realizes that now he doesn't have a choice. He needs to go nuclear. He needs to do this. And whatever fallout there is, there'll be fallout from Democrats. But if we stay closed until November 2026, I think there's going to be a lot of fallout on the Democrats. The filibuster is already here. That's how they do this, Ray, from what I understand. Schumer has a filibuster, and the filibuster keeps them from passing the bill. But I don't know. I know Ray is actual and factual, and he knows. He knows. But where I'm reading, and the way AIs, which aren't always 100% true, explain things to me so that I understand it, this whole thing is a filibuster. But as far as I'm concerned, go nuclear, pass this thing, get this whole thing reopened, get the House and the Senate reopened, let them do what they need to do, like giving SNAP emergency access to its funding, and anybody else that is sitting and can't use theirs, maybe, we just need to take care of all of that. We need to change the rules of the game so that if something like SNAP comes up again in the next government shutdown, because I'm sure there will be more, the government shutdown gets put on hold, the government opens, does what they need to do, and then maybe doesn't do any more. I don't know. I really don't know. Or you just move every program in the United States we need to have, you move them into the executive branch, and you make them the president's responsibility, if that's what you want to do. But that's really socialism. That's a king, or it's socialism. Because if the president doesn't want what you want, you won't see it. We don't have a king. No king protests are stupid because we're never going to have a king. We had a king over 250 years ago, and we got rid of him. And we've been without a king for 250 years. I mean, if you look at it, yeah, he's probably meets the requirements to be a king, but he doesn't want to be a king. He just wants to make sure things get done for Americans, and he wants to make sure they get done the right way. Like if you're Letitia James and you live in New Jersey, you can't be the Attorney General of New York. You can't break the law in any state anyway. So even at the least, if Letitia James is licensed to practice law in New York, she should lose that. Then she gets her day in court. I think it's in January. And she swears, "Oh, I didn't do anything wrong." And we swear, "Oh, yes, you did." And we have proof. Adam Schiff would go away for a maximum of 120 years. A lot will change before he gets out. He wouldn't be able to do it again. Some things I don't know if you can get out of. They say, "Oh, well, Trump is retribution on all these people for stuff that happened to him." Well, you're damn right. You accused him of breaking the law, and he proved to you that he didn't. And you still hate him anyway. So before I say something stupid, we're at an hour and 18 minutes, and we wrapped it up. Normally, Boogie with the Bull runs Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time, and or any other time that I may throw one on. Selected Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7 p.m. You'll always know ahead of time that there is one. And selected Saturdays. You'll always know if there is one. And if you fit those times and you have something you would like to see us do on a Boogie with the Bull, you're more than welcome to boogie with this bull. All you want. And yes, someday I will play the song that Cokie Malone wrote called Boogie with the Bull. That has nothing to do with politics of any kind except which beer you like. He liked the Bull, Schlitz Malt Liquor Bull. He drank a lot of it. Safely, of course, but that was his preferred brew. So one of these days we'll play the song for you. I always say it's an ode to the Schlitz Malt Liquor Bull because he mentions like 14, 15 other brands of beer and why he thinks that Schlitz was the best. Anyway, my mind's going to keep going off. An hour and 19 minutes into it, it's time to dismiss class right now. Send you on your way into the world. Tell everybody you know that it's time for the Senate majority Republicans to go nuclear and pass the clean continuous resolution. And once we do, it's time for the House and the Senate to get us off of continuous resolutions so that we can keep continuing and pass fiscal year budgets and go that way. Because the only time our government should shut down, in theory, is if they don't have the money that they need to operate the government. And right now, I don't know if we do. Anyway, well, it's something like $37 trillion. And Chuck Schumer wants to add $1.5 trillion to that. I wish someone would give me $1.5 trillion. I really do. I mean, I'm a great guy. I really wish someone would come up and hand me $1.5 trillion. There are some amazing things I could do. Talk about this foundation that just gives money away to good people who deserve, who need help. That's what I would do. Because there's a lot of good, hardworking Americans out there who just need some help now and then. There's a lot of Americans out there that, I don't know, they fell off of going to work every day and getting to live in the home that they owned and driving the car that they drove, and now they live under a bridge and they ask you for a quarter when they see you. I wish I could help those people get back. I actually wrote a plan one day that if a person really wanted to be a philanderer or whatever, I forget the actual word, but if they really wanted to professionally ask you for quarters every day, I wrote a plan that would put them in a legal business, permitted to do what they do, where they do it. And part of their paycheck would go to making sure they have a place to live and they get medical care when they need it. They get this and they get that, they get fed. And then they get whatever's left over. And there probably wouldn't be much left over, but they'd get some money out of their living. But it was all satirical anyway, because you wouldn't create a business, but Anyway, I keep going and I keep going and I keep going. Now it's an hour and almost 24 minutes into the program. And I told you that we're here Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 11:30 a.m. I'm so stupid. We're here Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Selected Saturdays at 10 a.m. Eastern, and selected Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7 p.m. If you want to have some fun, just a bunch want to get together and have some fun. It doesn't even have to be political. We can do something on a Tuesday or Thursday at 7 p.m. You just have to let me know, because I have to move from here to the office and make a studio in there. Or I have to ask my wife not to use the living room because that's my studio. We can do that. I don't want to send her to the bedroom. But anyway, I don't know. Good morning, Robin Brunson, and happy Halloween to you as well. Robin is an interesting person. And if you like coffee, much as Robin does, you can talk to Robin, and she will mention Fat Cup Coffee Company and suggest that that's where you get your coffee. And speaking of coffee, the last word is, I had heard that Maxwell House was going to rebrand as Maxwell Apartments for a short time because they thought it was funny, but they also thought it was true. And I hope to get my hands on a container of Maxwell Apartments coffee and have it on my desk for a while. But anyway, I'm going to keep going on and keep going on and keep going on and keep going on and keep going on. And I'm about said everything that I need to say, probably 4,257 times in the time that we have been together. Now an hour and 25 minutes into the program that I only promised I was going to do for 30 minutes. So I will dismiss class. I will send it on your way. Make it a fantastic weekend. Do go outside. Do spend time with your family. Hug them, kiss them, love them, and be there for them because they will always be there for you. But go out, like I said, go outside, have a fantastic weekend doing whatever you're going to go do. And I want to hear about it Monday morning because Monday morning at 8:30 a.m. is my let's get this week started, but it's also a review of what happened over the weekend. So come join me Monday and tell me what you did this weekend, either in the chat room or on the broadcast. It's really simple. And if you know a place outside of Facebook or YouTube that we should be posting on, whether we go live or we podcast to it, please let me know and I will send it there. We would be live on Truth Social, but something is screwed up somewhere and I keep forgetting to ask them for help to help me figure it out. We can be live on no, we can't be live on X because now you have to pay to be live on X, and I can't afford that. Rumble we would be on, but again, you have to pay to play on Rumble. We're thinking about Instagram, but they keep throwing loops at me that I don't understand. We do it, and we're still not live. We like to be there. Play the Meta Monopoly, Facebook Threads, and Instagram. Right now we're on Facebook, and I think we make it in bits and pieces to Threads, and we're supposed to make it to Instagram. So I don't know if anybody's on Instagram and you're watching, or you watch it on Instagram, please let me know. Over there, I'm Boogie WT Bull or Dave Glovin, either one. Just let me know that you saw the broadcast over on Instagram, and that would make me really happy. Anyway, I'm Dave Glovin. You're not. My right ear is working better today, so I don't understand why I'm getting tongue-tied. I can hear on my right ear. I'm going to go check on Agnes and make sure she's okay. But remember, if you ever see a black cat, not just because it's Halloween, but if you ever see a black cat behind me or on the desk with me, that's Agnes. Keep trying to get her to come out here, but she won't do it right now. She's being a little shy. Anyway, I'm Dave Glovin. You're not going to make it a fantastic weekend, and we will see you Monday with the Bull. You might see us a little later today, but I don't think so because I think we're going to be out and about today because it's Friday, and like I said, it's the day to be out and about. So, on that note, I will hit this one, which will end the stream.